Please like and subscribe to the Couch and the Rube YouTube channel. Also download podcast episodes wherever you get your podcasts. For sponsorship opportunities, email Jason at couchandtherube.com.
What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube, our Wednesday show presented by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask & Company Kitchen and Bar, the original Couch and the Rube sponsor from way back when we were just pups and life was high and hope, or hope was high and life worth living, whatever Fontaine says in Les Miserables. That's what we were back then. If you're looking for a place to watch the Open and stick around on Sunday to watch the World Cup final, Front 43 and Cask & Company. They've got World Cup specials going on. And also, when it's like 97 degrees and it feels like Miami feels like on every Tuesday and Thursday and Wednesday of every summer of every year, just inhabitable. In Michigan, uninhabitable. Front 43 and Cask & Company. Nice, air-conditioned place that feels cozy and just a place you want to be. Have a great meal. Be around people without sweating and feeling sticky and all the ick of this weather and the weather that much of the country experiences all the time. Jason, how you doing, brother? I do hear your voice in my head when I take a shit.
I'm not talking about Michigan.
Welcome to the Blue Wall.
Let's go green, go God.
What's up, buddy? Good to see you again.
You too.
Man, back to these 3 shows a week, huh?
Yeah, the grind, some people call it.
Yeah.
We're there.
I owe you an apology off the top here because yesterday you ended up posting. We talked about on Monday that you had a Izzo column from back in the day about how he almost stayed at Tulsa and what would have been and all that stuff. And you were nice enough yesterday to post it on the Couch and the Rube account and tag me in it. And I immediately, and it's not that it's the LSJ by itself. It's a lot of these apps that do this. When you click on a story and they all decided because they can't get subscriptions, they're just going to pound people with these ads and pop-ups and video players and multiple, so the LSJ does that, but they're not the only, you guys aren't the only one. So it just annoyed me because I'm sitting on the toilet. I'm like, oh, nice. I want to read this. The Couch tweeted this out. And then I hit it, and I get just bombarded with ads and videos and shit. And I just so then I screen grab, and then I have to post something. This is what I pay $29.99 a month for, which is a joke, which Couch does. It goes over Couch's head. Couch thinks I pay $30 because he tweets back on the show account, I'm so sorry about that. We can rectify. I'm like, dude, I'm just kidding. I'm busting balls here. You think this would be the only time I say something if I'm paying $29.99 a month for this app? I mean, come on.
Well, I will say that
thank you for posting.
You're not that far off what some people pay, and you're about half what my mother pays there. So, I didn't know. Joke. The LSJ doesn't have the right. Probably
we'd have a 3 quick takes critique every week if I was paying $30 a month for this fucking app here, guys. But anyway, I enjoy it.
We're working on that. We're trying to bring value, and
you guys aren't working on it. None of you guys are working on it.
You'd be surprised how many conversations go on about trying to make the customer.
Please, can I be a part of one of those?
Okay.
I swear to God, I will not say anything. I want to hear the LSJ staff talking about how we need to get rid of, the pop-ups? You could start there. Because immediately, this is bad for advertising. Because I see those pop-ups, I get fired up, I get pissed. I'm never buying whatever's up there. You know what I mean? That's why I have YouTube Premium, because I just can't handle if I get an ad going. It's just they place them in in the worst spots sometimes. I understand things have to be paid for. There's a place and time and place where you can put the ads, but you just get bombarded when I'm just trying to click a story.
It's like you remember when we had those ads for a while that just cut in the middle of the podcast and just
and I can understand, but you know what? There's a fast forward button, and it's a little less of a nuisance than when I'm on the toilet and I'm trying to read oh Graham, thanks for posting this, and then you hit 2 clicks and you go, well Jesus, what? I can't even scroll, and then you end up exit out of it, and then you got to sign back in then you go forget everything. And by the way, whatever sponsor that was, F them. I'm never using it. It's just
No.
But anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't think that you were going to take it seriously, because I wanted people to click on it.
Another show I hope my bosses never listen to. Let me write that down.
You know what? They should listen to it so they can take criticism, get better. I'm supporting your product. I've supported it for most of my life in this area.
Sometimes with 2 subscriptions at once.
Yeah.
Yeah. Understood.
I'm just saying, I've read it my whole life, even back in the Ebling days, for God's sake. I am a fan of local news. You want to listen to my critiques is all I'm saying.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
fair enough.
You should want to listen to this show. But
yeah, we are we are open to criticism, and we're trying to improve. That's my company
Can you
line.
ask Izzo about that Tulsa coach guy? I forget his name.
The guy he worked
real
for.
Ball buster, man.
Yeah,
Jesus.
tough.
Even Tom was. It's funny. Even in that column of yours, just like he was trying to say something nice about him.
He couldn't. He couldn't do it. He worked there.
I'm like, damn, what is this guy? This guy must have been
He worked there
menace.
7 weeks in 1986, and to this day, there are elements of it that scar him. That column is up if you want to see it on our Twitter
Izzo's
page.
sister sending him $10 bills. I was trying to figure that out. Did they really send the 10? Because I'm thinking
Back
back
then
you don't transfer money, so they actually sent a $10 bill
cash.
through the mail.
And back then, $10 is probably what, like 50 is today, right? So it's something around there.
Is that
Anyway,
inflation now.
something around
Jeez.
there.
All right. See, the people at the LSJ should listen to this. It's great promotion.
Back then, we were printing money at the LSJ. We didn't have to listen to anybody.
God.
It was
Ebling
great.
was going. He was just his expense
Oh,
report
man.
was 5
The old
figures.
days. We've talked about Jack Moss, right? My days at the Kalamazoo Gazette.
Making up quotes.
Yeah. So Jack, when he was this is the story that's been passed down to me when I was there. Anyway, they were famously in the 80s, 90s printing money in certain places, or thought they were printing money. Probably needed to not print a little, think it a little less. But anyway, one of the reporters, she was sent to cover, I don't know, Notre Dame football or something, and she came back with like her food expense was just like a Wendy's, $6 meal. And Jack saw the receipt, ripped it up, pulled out a receipt pad from his desk, and wrote like some $50 steak or something on it, and said, "You're going to make the rest of us look bad." Said, "This is what you turn in." That's how they rolled back then. Just different.
Miss those guys.
Different era.
Yeah.
Whiskey in the desk. Swearing at each other across the room.
Caring about sports, not thinking that they have to be a part of the
community
company and company guys like the McCoskies and shit. But yeah. Anyway.
All right, so we got what I think is going to be a good show today.
The Blue Wall, right? We're going to talk about the Blue Wall.
We've got some Blue Wall. We've got a member of the Blue Wall joining us in a few minutes, Shawn Windsor, columnist from the Detroit Free Press. So we will have him apologize for everybody.
He
there
might be
in Detroit.
busy with that breaking news going on.
I've gotten the thumbs up that he's good, despite the Red Wings getting rid of Stevie Y. So we'll ask him about that and talk about that.
It's interesting, though, that he's just going to be Ilitch's right-hand man. I mean, if you're the new president or GM and you're coming in there, that's got to be an intimidating thing watching Yzerman over your shoulder. I mean, I
think to some degree it's an admission that his personnel decisions weren't working, but he's a legend and he may have some other, you want to give him a sort of a soft landing, so to speak.
Sure. I
understand.
Yeah, I mean, not firing him. I mean, you can't. It's tough, but I mean, the way it looks, it's kind of. I mean, they do these things where it's not meant to be a firing, but if you're a half-wit, you can see that the writing's on the wall.
Like if he wanted to take another job, he could. He could go take a GM somewhere else or something. Yeah, right. It'd be.
But you're getting Ilitch at Diet Coke. It's like,
I don't know if that's the gig. That would be fantastic.
Well, what else do you do if you're Ilitch's right-hand man? I mean, I can't imagine.
You explain to him all this stuff works, I guess. I don't know. Something
all
like
you do is just sit in an office looks maxing or whatever that thing is now. Kids are doing.
Let's hope the Red Wings, I think, needed to do this and probably needed to do it a little earlier. And they're just kind of spinning their tires and I'm making it hard on a lot of people. And last year was as disappointing as I think any year because they actually started off looking pretty decent and tailed off. We'll talk some Tigers and Pistons with Shawn as well as MSU Michigan. But let's get into to what's going on. First of all, before we get into the Michigan stuff, you had a point you wanted to make on the Moneyball Pro-Am, which scared you out of last night.
Yeah. And the condensation from the heat, or is that what happens when the heat happens?
I think it's just
condensation. It's just too effing hot. But I'm watching the highlights last night on Channel 6. Tyler, what's that guy's name? Tyler Dreesen or something like that. But I'm watching the highlights. I'm like, why are these guys running so weird? No one was playing defense, which I understand. That's Moneyball. But they were like, I saw Cohen Carr gingerly walking up and then doing an alley-oop, and then all of a sudden cut. I see Solari posting clips of like Cohen Carr slipping over. And then Couch Monday was talking about, injuries have have not happened here for Michigan State at all. And now all of a sudden I see Cohen's car's leg above his head sliding on MF and floor. I'm like, get all of these guys out of here. Like, what's happening? They ended up canceling it, right?
They called it off. I'm not sure at what point. I wasn't.
But why
there
would they
last
let
night,
them play? I just saw those guys gingerly, like.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they realized it was that bad or if it was. I mean, we've all played on slick floors before, and it's all these guys have even. One of the things Izzo has talked to me about when I've asked him about the injury thing with Moneyball is he said, look, if these guys aren't playing at Moneyball, they're going to be playing somewhere else, and they might be playing on a court. They're not going to be playing necessarily on a professional court either. They're going to be playing in a pickup game.
If you could dunk like Cohen Carr, I think I would be on a basketball court every day.
All the time.
Yeah.
And so, look, I'm sure once you see a couple guys slide, like Desmond Ferguson, who runs this, former Division I player, played in the NBA briefly, played overseas.
Yeah.
He's not an idiot. He knows when it's not safe. That's why they called it off. And they won't be back out there if it's not safe. I mean, I truly believe that. And
we're not saying anything like that.
Yeah.
He can't help the fact that it's 105% humidity. What he's supposed to do. I'm just saying, when I was watching the guys, I'm like, if I saw that right there, I go, all right, let's just cut this out right now.
And usually it's pretty pleasant, but obviously somehow it wasn't great on the courts. The bigger story is what's going on at Michigan right now, and it looks like we'll see what happens. That Warde Manuel is on his way out. Warde Manuel says that's not necessarily the case. There are various reports.
He's not going anywhere.
He's going to put up a fight here, apparently. There are various reports that otherwise, however, including the Wall Street Journal saying that that there is evidence that he warned Sharon Moore about and said he could not travel with his former mistress, Paige Shriver, if that's what we want to call her, or whatever, his accuser, a lot of things. I don't know what.
But since 2022, they knew about this.
Yeah, right. So, but here's the thing.
That's wild.
Here's my issue with all of this, is if he didn't know, he should be fired. Like, your job as an athletic director is to be aware. Like, that's a big part of the job. Yeah. Jim Harbaugh may have blinders on and be a guy who runs a football program a certain way and doesn't really pay attention. It may be just the way he's wired. And I'm saying that politely, and I don't believe that's an excuse. If you're the head coach, you're the CEO of your program. But a football coach, you can sort of understand it because they're trying to coach football, and that's the way they've come up. If you are an athletic director, you are in management, and a big part of your job, I mean, I get fundraising and all that and dealing with a lot, but a big part of that job is being aware. And there is no way that somebody who's good at that job doesn't hear about a possible coach, a staff or inappropriate relationship somewhere enough to at least check it out or be concerned about it. There's no way you don't hear enough. I mean, that is the job, to know. And if you're unaware, then you're not doing the job. That's part of the idea that when these things happen, even if there's not always a direct link, that he's got to fall for this at the very least, if there aren't other issues. And we'll see what this report, when it comes out, is and how much we see of it.
But the quote from Warde, though, that's the classic thing. Like, didn't he learn anything from Mike Vrabel about it's nonsense? He goes, I just moved through it because it's nonsense, talking about he's been fired by social media 3 times in his 10 years. Like, why would you ever say the word nonsense when you're involved? Like, Warde can't be a stupid man. Like, he's got to understand the facts are going to come out at some point here.
And when he talks about social media, I mean, I think he's taking shots at certain people, but like a guy like Justin Spiro, he may not respect Justin Spiro, but in some ways, Justin has been on the forefront.
Is he going to get a Pulitzer?
He's been on the forefront of some of this reporting. So, like, why? You can say what you want, but he wasn't wrong about
an MAB award. I mean, what do we have to give Spiro for all this legwork?
He may not.
Matt Mancarini award.
He may not work for the Free for the News or Bridge Magazine, which now has Matt Mancarini. By the way, left the LSJ for Bridge Magazine. Big news.
Bridge Magazine. Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So
I'm waiting on my.
Anyway,
issue.
If the regents, and there's not a lot of respect for them either at Michigan, just like the Board of Trustees at Michigan State, if they don't do something here and they're not able to, and I think the president actually gets rid of the AD, but if they don't wind up making a change at Michigan in the athletic director position, people are not going to respect that athletic department. And
who wouldn't? The Michigan people or outside of
just
Michigan?
The world.
I think you should just lean into it.
Why?
Like, why change anything? You're getting away with it. What's going to happen to Warde Manuel, though? If they end up keeping him, what would happen to Warde Manuel? If you just lean into it and just go, no, we're keeping Warde. What are you going to do about it? What, everybody on the outside of Michigan are going to be like, oh, my God. They're already going to think that.
Look, we do live in a world now, and this is this is a lot has changed since 2016, where people say, what are you going to do? This may have always been the way, it's been the law, but we don't respect that. We're just doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
You don't want to be that. And there are enough people, I believe, at Michigan. There are enough people who give to Michigan. There are enough people who care about Michigan. There are enough that I don't think that's the way you want to go. I don't think you do not want to continuously be the villain.
I wouldn't want to do that. No, I'm just saying.
It's unnecessary.
Yeah.
You made yourself an unnecessary villain, and you know.
But when you've acted that way for so long, why turn around and change anything? I understand that there's certain Michigan fans and Michigan people that go to the university or are part of the university that don't feel that way, but a majority maybe does. And why? That's my thing. Is like, I think I would just end up leaning into it if I felt that way all along.
There are a lot of people who are who are affiliated with Michigan, who've gone there, who've played, who are embarrassed by this stuff. This is not like people act like this is. You will see people online who randomly just stick up for everything, and that's because people live in silos and we live in these little online worlds where you think that's the voice of the will of the people. That's not the way a lot of people feel. Right. And I'm not saying there aren't that everybody isn't more inclined to have their biases and see things through the colored glasses they want to from time to time. I mean, you know, I mentioned Spiro there. He absolutely, he admittedly has an axe to grind against Michigan, right? He will tell you that. Like that's what drives him doing this,
right?
And so like that sort of stuff. And there, you know, but you know, you get the Wall Street Journal with a report now. You get a lot of people are digging into this. I think the news is Detroit News is done some good work too. And we will talk about more of this in a minute. Let's take a quick break.
Welcome
when we come
to
back,
the Blue Wall.
We'll bring on a noted member of the Blue Wall, talk about a number of things. Our friend Shawn Windsor, columnist for the Detroit Free Press. Couch in the Roop, our Wednesday show, presented by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask and Company Kitchen and Bar.
Where else can you cheer on your team, enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi, sip on handcrafted cocktails, or one of 46 beers on tap? Take your game day or date night to Cask and Company Kitchen and Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. Two amazing places with one awesome blended modern American-Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask and Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Come enjoy irresistible, award-winning, handcrafted donuts and locally roasted coffee at Groovy Donuts. Surprise your family or coworkers with special holiday designs and flavors, or put the perfect finishing touch on an event with a custom order. Birthdays, weddings, gender reveals, our friends at Groovy Donuts are your answer. Experience the Groovy Donuts difference for yourself on Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing or in Williamston. Get more information or place an order at groovydonuts.com. Firekeeper's Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play from your phone, tablet, or laptop. Get in on all the football action with pre- and in-game wagering. There's showdowns every week in football that you can't miss, plus the college and pro hoops are red hot and the pucks are cool. Get your first casino deposit and sports wager matched up to $500 each. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117.
Please like and subscribe to the Couch in the Rube YouTube channel. Also, download podcast episodes wherever you get your podcasts. For sponsorship opportunities, email Jason at couchandtherube.com.
Couch in the Rube, our Wednesday show, presented by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask and Company Kitchen and Bar. Just an awesome place on a hot day to get inside and just, you know, feel like yourself, not feel sticky, enjoy a great meal, cool environment, great specials, and an unbelievable menu. Go to caskandcompany.com if you want to make a reservation or check out their menu. I've never steered anybody wrong in going there. Very pleased now to be joined by my friend and noted member of the Blue Wall, Detroit Free Press columnist Shawn Windsor. It is always good to hear your voice, my friend.
Oh, it's good to be with you, Graham. I'm playing a little bit injured coming back here, and I've been off for almost a month or so. Not vacation, but we're trending in the right direction. So if you were looking for another drop, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to give you one of those today. But it is good to be here. That's the taint.
We still have that one. Thank you. Oh.
And that's the taint.
Do you want to tell people? I mean, you've been out for a bit. I don't know how much you want to, but you've been out a couple different times. Do you want to tell people what's going on at all? Or not?
Well, sure. I mean, I miss, because I haven't written about this, and I might write about this now. Now that I still have a little bit to go here, but I'm back to work, so that's good. No, I missed 3 months through the winter, and then came back for a bit, and then I was hospitalized for a while. I had a surgery that I hate to sound so dramatic, but a surgery that basically saved my life. And then I had another surgery a few weeks ago, that was sort of related to that, to kind of button up some things, so to speak, make me whole again. And so I knock on wood, I think I'm on the other side. And that's enough, right?
Yeah, that's perfect.
We don't want to go into the details of what happened to me. It's not for.
Yeah, no.
Let's just say I don't mind saying this though, because it's sort of funny, and I've talked about this on my podcast with Mike Ellick a little bit, and Mark Fellhauer, the Soul of Detroit. But sorry for that little plug. But
no, you can plug all you want.
Great. Yeah. So one of the results of the surgery that I had that saved me in the winter was that I had a bag on my chest, basically, and without getting too detailed, a colostomy bag, and I found out that not everybody knows what that is, but essentially it's how you use the restroom, and fortunately for me it was temporary, but you can't control that like you can normally when you're using the restroom. So when I got back to work, I'm in these press conferences. I went on the Michigan National Championship run and then a playoff run with the Pistons. And I was scared to death, Graham, that I was going to be in one of these press conferences and the mic's going to come to me. And sometimes these are televised. And, for about 6 months, I tooted out of my chest instead of out of the back. And I couldn't control it, right? And I had no idea when it was going to come. So you can't just flip out and go to another room or go to another, go outside or try to muffle it, by sitting on a chair, whatever. I had no control over it. So I was scared to death that Mike was going to come to me and I was going to be asking Dusty May or Cade Cunningham or J.B. Vickers type of question and just rip one right in front of the mic because it's coming out the front. And I came close a couple of times. It started to happen, and then I got the mic. But that was once I realized that I was going to survive, that was actually my biggest fear. And then I was going to become some kind of meme, and it's televised, and all of a sudden, oh, who is this jerk? You know what I mean? That's right. What's that going to happen? I mean, I was scared to death of that. Came close in Cleveland. Cade Cunningham was talking, and I would purposely sit in the back to try to stay, away a little bit. And I ripped one, and there was a national NBA writer, and I don't know him very well, but I know him a little bit, just a few seats down, and he gave me the side eye, and he looked over, he's like, what the, can we cuss on this
Yeah,
show?
Of course, yeah.
What the fuck? Right, he's looking at me like, what? And then he got up and left, and Cunningham answered, finished the press conference, so he got up and left, so I didn't get to explain the situation, which I had to do a few times, because I did fart in front of a few people. Just not with the mic. And I knew I was going to see him for Game 7 back in Detroit. And then I was like, okay, should I say something? Should I not? And I'm like, no, you know what? If he wants to think that, that's fine. We're not close enough. It is what it is. So that was a good lesson through all this too. Hey, sometimes you got a megaphone that's going to accentuate a toot coming out your chest, and that's people are just going to have to deal with it.
And, frankly, you don't know what people are going through. If I ever hear somebody fart out their chest, I will not,
No,
I'll just be like,
you don't.
Yeah.
You don't. No, the only good thing is that it's going into a bag and it had a charcoal filter on it. So there was no smell. It's not like if you or Jason one gets away from you, whatever, you're probably more worried about the smell.
One of the best things about having a 3-month-old daughter is if I fart and it smells, I just blame her. I'm like, oh, and diaper change. Let's go.
Exactly. Exactly. So that was the one. That was the one good thing. There was no lingering. Like, okay, where's that coming from? And everybody's like, what the hell? Yeah, no. So, but you don't think about that, do you? Oh, hey, Dusty, you're about to play for the national title. You know what I mean? Yeah, you don't think about that, do you?
It's never been a fear of mine. I've had lots of fears. That is not one. Well,
so I don't have to worry about that anymore. So there you go. That's the update. That's why I was out in the last month.
Speaking of
surgery to change all that. So
speaking of wet farts, what's going on at Michigan right now, and the Michigan State to a degree?
Look at you.
Yeah, right.
Look at you. What do we call that? We call that a segue? Yeah,
Something, right, yeah. Been doing this a couple years. Yeah.
Mr. Radio Pro, I love it. It's wild. Look, you don't normally put things in lawsuits. Well, I don't know. These days there are a lot of lawsuits out there that are ridiculous. In the past, you didn't normally put things in lawsuits that weren't true because you were worried about, it gets to trial and there's discovery, and if you're putting things in that aren't true, right, there's consequences to that.
Yeah.
So I guess, I don't know, but with the way things are right now, I guess you sort of still want to take things with a grain of salt. But, dude, if the president of the University of Michigan, the former president, was covering stuff up and trying to hide stuff and telling people, I mean, to me, that was by far the most radical thing out of all that. What did you think?
Well, I am fascinated by the Warde Manuel part of this as always, because he is just continues to act like he's going to be the AD forever and like he didn't know anything. And I just find that he's so emboldened, I should say. I find it amazing. Yeah, the former president, that guy on his way out, you'd start to hear that he was kind of a clown. And now you hear that he may or may not. I mean, if he was allegedly involved in covering things up.
A cover-up.
Yeah,
right.
that just speaks to that entirely and his love affair with that football program. Because he wanted to, remember when that was happening, when they were winning, he wanted to be seen. He was all about it.
He was on the field, right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So
that stuff.
He was there when they went after the Big Ten commissioner and they were pushing back. And you remember all that? There was never any. I mean, obviously we're going to apologize, but there was never any humility.
Right. Well, that's the thing. That's what lacks.
That's the thing about this whole thing. It's just there's no humility.
None.
And no transparency, and so that's not surprising, right, Graham?
No, I mean that's sort of the MO there, and I think that's what drives people bananas about that place. There does seem to be now. There are a lot of places that are like that, but it's, and then the fact that everything that comes out that they've sort of said nothing to see here, and then everything that comes out is just a little bit worse or at least damning to that credibility. It's like, okay, guys, like at a certain point, it's completely the boy who cried wolf. I know, the former president's gone. Warde Manuel, like to me, in some ways, the benefit for Michigan of having Warde Manuel around is as long as he's around, you have a fall guy for when it's all done and a punching bag. And so that's the value of him entirely at this point. And I will be very curious to see how long he sticks around. Because ultimately, until they have a new president in place, and just like Michigan State, Michigan's going through this, right? Now Michigan State's keeping their president, but you need a new president. People don't really love the Board of Regents. They've had some issues there. Elected the same way by not actually being elected by anybody who knows who any of these people are. And I think that if you'd prefer to have Warde Manuel fired by the next president who then could hire a new AD themselves. I think hiring an AD without a president is hard to get the right person. But I don't know how he stays. I think it becomes utterly ridiculous the longer he's around, especially if these allegations that are coming to light are true. And as I said in the open, like your job, if you're him, even if things don't directly always lead to you, is to be aware. That's a big part of that job. And just if you aren't, then that's enough to say, look, enough was going on here that you didn't know about, that we just need to move in a different direction. Yeah,
and there are a few things. I mean, obviously, what happened with Moore, and when that all broke back in the winter, there were reports that folks had known about that relationship
right
for a while, right? So that was I mean, so I guess that part of what broke the other day, that didn't feel new. I felt like that was more than just a rumor. That was reported that some folks in the university knew. But it's one of those things where how much do you know, and at what point do you start investigating? If you say, hey, are you in a relationship, and somebody denies it, then what are you going to do?
Where do
how do you find evidence of that? I guess that's a little bit murky. To me, the bigger issue is the cheating scandal on the field, and what we're trying to cover up. And basically this latest lawsuit is Partridge saying that, hey, obviously didn't want to be the fall guy, right? He's tired of being the fall guy.
And he's got some credit, and he's got a little bit of credibility based on the lack of findings against him in certain ways. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say he's got more credibility than other people, but I'm very curious to see what he's been scorned a little bit here, and that makes him dangerous. Ultimately, what's the worst case scenario for Michigan in all of this?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't think it's losing Warde Manuel. By the way, he might survive this. I mean, what does he know, right? What didn't he know? I don't know. He's got a Teflon quality about him. It's weird, too, because then the football and basketball teams both won national championships.
Yeah.
But there have been all these other controversies, all these other issues, and some of that's not his fault, right? I mean, it's just going to happen. People are going to mess up, and then you're going to get rid of them or whatever. It happens at every institution in America. Every company in America, so of any kind of size. But I don't think that's the worst, right? Losing him. I mean, to me, the worst would be confirmation that the cheating went beyond what Michigan has said it was. It wasn't just living in Connor Stallions.
Yeah.
And Chris Partridge destroying some evidence or whatever, and Sharon Moore erasing his phone. That there was actually that. The coaching staff was involved all the way up to Harbaugh, and that maybe Manuel knew about it to a degree, and that maybe Ono knew about it, and that there was a comprehensive cover-up and went all the way to the top. To me, not that there's, I don't know what that would lead to in terms of more punishment, but that would, and I know a lot of the college football public outside of Michigan already sort of thinks that about that national championship. But to me, that would be it. It would be proof, and I just think it would make folks look at the university in a little bit different way for a while.
And it would also
it's their brand, right? It would be. I'm not going to say that word. Sorry, you already have that. It would be stained in a different way,
not tainted. I do think
that's the taint.
Yeah, no, I agree, because I think there could be a point where it's sort of widely thought that national championship was illegitimate, and that I mean, again, that's not, you're not going to take down the trophies and and plaques and all that stuff, and in-house people can push back against that, and you're still going to have it. There does come to a point where though it's diminished, and obviously you don't have the football coach or the basketball coach who won those national championships. What do you think of the situation with Mike Boynton and in the basketball program and where they're at now and that hire and sort of moving forward, keeping most of that roster together and trying to continue doing what they were doing pretty well under Dusty May?
I mean, this is the thing about Warde Manuel, where you think, okay, yeah, all this is happening on the watch, but on the other hand, that's the smart decision. Boynton's a former head coach, right? Coached a pretty good player down the road from here, about 60 miles from you, right, in Detroit.
Yeah.
And Cade Cunningham, but he's a former head coach. Dusty May said a lot of good things about him, and it's a way to keep a roster that a lot of folks thought, including Dusty May, by the way, that it's a championship roster. So, and if he's not the right guy, you'll know that. And it's just one season, but you're not totally throwing the season away either. You got talent, and you see what he adds to the staff, because I think Dusty May took at least one coach with him to Dallas. But so I don't know. I feel like that's under tough circumstances, late in the cycle. I feel like that's a reasonable thing to do, right? Give a guy a chance for a year and say, hey, you got this roster, and he kept everybody there except for L.J. Casey. I don't know when was going to play anyway.
It's a smart
recover from that knee.
The 2-year contract is a really smart move, and I've seen it done before, because what it essentially does, it allows you to pretend to recruit with it and have a guy. Nobody can have a 1-year deal because you can't Nobody can operate like that. But it's essentially a 1-year deal when you give somebody a 2-year contract like that, and
it is.
It allows
Absolutely.
you to keep things in place and see if this person has the goods. And I don't think, outside of there being, you falling into somebody, I don't think there was a better situation, especially in this day and age where you're building rosters a lot year to year. See what he can do. And he doesn't have a great record at Oklahoma State, but he's been a head coach. People grow. It's a different landscape and all that stuff. I want to ask you about. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say real quickly. He got Cade Cunningham. I don't know how much other. I don't think there was a lot of other talent on that team at Oklahoma State. But yeah, I don't know. He watched. This is always the thing. You watch up close somebody evaluate talent, sift through the portal, the high school recruiting, all of that the way Dusty May did, and then team build and everything that May did. You watched it up close. You think, okay, well he can do it. It's like when Dave Dombrowski, Tiger fans were frustrated he couldn't ever put a bullpen together, but he put together some really, really good teams, and obviously he's gone on and won in a couple other spots. And so it's like, well, Alavila watched that up close, right? Yeah. I mean, this happens all the time in sports, so I don't know. I mean, Dusty May is. I mean, he was a better coach in some ways than John Beilein, right? Like Dusty May understood where college basketball is. That to me, that was his superpower. Like he understood it and took advantage. Oh, I shouldn't say take advantage. It makes it sound like he's, I don't know what whatever. I don't want to imply anything. I know what people think about some of that, and it's out there, and that's fine. But he understood it. And does this guy do it? I don't know. It might be a long time before they have a coach there again, Graham, that understands the moment, whatever that moment might be, and however we might change from now to then. It might be a while, right? Let's be real.
Do you think what's happening at Michigan State, and obviously they've kept the president, and he'll have to repair some relationships, but that I think was a pretty good move. But losing the athletic director, Jay Batt, just as the Spartan Ventures is starting and they're trying to get that thing moving. Do you think there is an impact there? They have Izzo in place. They had hired the football coach. They need to get winning football. I mean, winning football. Right now, all the stuff that's happening in Michigan, this stuff is not on the tip of the tongue in mid-October, right? You get winning football, that just changes the conversation all the time. Do you think losing Jay Batt ultimately hurts Michigan State?
Not if they run the Ventures in the right way, right? I mean, I'm sure you heard you heard a lot more than I did, and I've been out of it for a while too. But you heard things, right, about things behind the scenes and what was really going on and so forth. I'm sorry to tease like that. I know that's not fair, but this is just that some folks think up there that are still there, that they're going to be okay.
Yeah,
that the structure's there and they've got the alums are there and the money's more or less there. And can you get it together and quit making it seem like there's dysfunction? That's the key. And how much was Jay Batt going to do that? He wasn't able to stop any of that, really, right? To me, that's what it's about. We were just talking about the brand with Michigan. You're right. You win. I mean, obviously the basketball program's in a good spot right now, and if Fitzgerald can do that, but you got to win. But it's about projecting an image out there that everybody's together. And didn't Izzo kind of go on a little bit of didn't he vent a little bit about that not that long ago?
Yeah, and he was a huge.
Wasn't that the implication, right?
He's a huge fan of the president. He was really frustrated with that. Now he was frustrated that Guskowitz initially, wasn't willing to stick it out through it, but he was frustrated with the board. He's frustrated with. I mean, he's just been there 40-some years through all this stuff, right? And I think he's about tired of being the front man who has to, create the stability.
Of the silliness, right? Of the silliness, and the ego is getting in the way. And look, this is what we do. It's human beings. It's human nature. But at some point, you got to, whether there's tension and all sorts of stuff behind the scenes or not, there's got to be some kind of front out there. I mean, we make fun of public relations, news relations all the time, and nobody wants to live under propaganda all the time. But there's a difference there's a lot of room between flat out propaganda and being manipulated and trying to say, hey, at least we're together, publicly, right? To make it seem like we're not dysfunctional, even if there are some issues that need to get smoothed out day to day behind the scenes because this is what we're doing. We're messy, but you know what I mean. There's space in there, and Michigan State's got to operate in that space a little bit better. They do that, they'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree. I think I do think retaining Guskowitz was a big deal. I think a new president would have another search, then probably another AD for that. You know, I think the whole thing would. I think having him. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they would have been fine. They've been through this stuff before, but you know, as I've said before, they've got a clock on when this stuff has to be right, and it's Izzo's tenure. Like he gives them a cachet. He gives them somebody they can turn to, and there's a voice of the place, which has worked not always worked great for them, but he's been there for them. And when he's done. If you don't have a football program that's competitive and stable, if you don't have an athletic department that's found its footing, if you've got dysfunction at the university, you're going to have big problems. I think they've got that's the timeline, that's the deadline to make sure they're operating in a decent way. All right, a couple other things. You wrote a column coming back on the Pistons' new draft pick. And this is when I was just glad to see it. It's good to see you back. And I also love that you got Henry Ellison into the lead, because there's a guy, and I just former Marquette player. I mean, I remember when he was drafted, and I remember that summer league, and I remember thinking, wow, they got a guy. What a pick. It was like 18th overall pick. What a pick.
Yeah, exactly.
And and obviously, as you point out, he's now playing in Korea. And Abuko Okore, what are your thoughts on him?
That he can get to where he wants to go. So, and I think that'll translate. And that's the number one thing. That's what I was trying to write. He wasn't much of a shooter at Stanford. I mean, when I say that, he shoot 35, 36% from three. So that's not a terrible shooter, but he's not a knockdown shooter. Can he make a mid-range shot? Yeah, he can. Can he get to the rim? He can get to the rim whenever he wants. He's done that in the summer league. The question is, can he finish? And I think he can, and I think he'll adjust to that. And the strength is the issue, right? I mean, he's got to bulk up. He's got to put on weight. So did Cade Cunningham. But I think there are things in the summer league that you can see that will translate. And I wrote this about Sora Thompson. I remember sitting baseline. That's the great thing about summer league. You sit on the baseline like you used to at Michigan State basketball games.
Yeah,
and you're right there, and the game starts, and it's Thompson's, rookie, obviously rookie, because he only played summer league out there once. And the game starts, and a few possessions are in, and he goes up for a rebound, and it gets tipped somehow, and he goes right back up again. Of course, before the guy next to him was even at the top of his first jump. It was sort of Dennis Rodman-like, and I'm like, oh, that's different. And then you watch him. He obviously wasn't the defensive menace then that he is now, but the athleticism was there, and you could just tell. And I remember texting somebody, okay, this guy is different. And I don't have any idea about his offense, whatever. But you can see that. And that's what I think about Okore and his ball handling ability and his stop-start, the hesitation. He's just the way he moves, his burst, all of that. That will translate. Whether everything else does or not, I have no clue.
Yeah.
But I see why they drafted him, because that will translate. And they don't have that. They don't have enough. They had it a little bit with Dennis Schroeder 2 years ago. And he helped them push the Knicks. You remember he won them game. Was it 2? Hit a huge 3 down the stretch. Anyway, sorry, I don't want to go back that far. But yeah, no, I don't know ultimately, but you see why they drafted.
What would you, the situation with Jalen Duren in their summer, and they have not yet made a move that was really a big splash. I love what they're doing with Duren. Like I think we're seeing it with the Celtics and Jaylen Brown, how they're basically saying you can have one massive salary and you got to build around that for depth. 2, you better be really damn good and fit complementary. And I don't think the players are quite onto that yet in this second apron world. You can't make mistakes. You can't give Jalen Duren $45 million a year and compete for a title. Or if you do, the expectation of him every game he plays ought to be like number 2 dude on a championship team, and anything less, he ought to be asked about it like that, because that's the money you're making under this under the current rules. How do you think this resolves itself, and what do you think of their summer?
Okay, so I have probably a different take than a lot of folks. Number one, Duren is struggling because he played himself to a $45 million a year contract until the playoffs started, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he was great in the regular season and 22 years old. And I'm not. And look, I get it. I hear that some people in our market in particular, are talking about DeAndre Ayton and all that. No. The improvement. Start with this: how much better Jalen Duren got from 2 years ago to this past season was significant, mostly defensively, because he was completely lost defensively. And not that he was some lockdown guy, and he still got his head turned around too often and so forth. But he became sort of a neutral defender and maybe a plus rim defender, and he's still got room to go. But he improved. You watch him shoot free throws, right? Watch his ball handling. It's all there. He was making 15-footers this past year in the regular season. So he's got all that in his head, and the Pistons want him because they think they can unlock. And that's still going to get better. But they want him at what, 25? Well, maybe not 25, at $30 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Boston would have taken him. For all the fans that say, hey, they would have swapped Jaylen Brown for him, what was that going to do? Seriously. That wasn't going to help them. Not really. I mean, what? So, okay, fine, you got a number two, but you don't have a big. Boston didn't have a big last year, and what happened to them? You got to have bigs these days. We're past the era. It's much fun as you and me and whoever else love watching Golden State, and that was awesome. That's done. You got to have a big, and Boston would have taken Duren in a second, believe me. So I think they're going to sign him, and I think they're smart, and I think he wants to come, and I think he'll come back, and I think it's just negotiations. He's trying to get as much money as he can. The Pistons are trying to pay him as little as they can, and that this happens every year. I don't think it means he wants to be in Sacramento or doesn't want to be here. Okay, so that's on that. As far as the other, what they've done, this is what I try to tell people about the NBA in the last. The Knicks. And maybe the Knicks are going to change this and the way they just won the title. They took bigger swings. They flipped Julius Randle for Karl Anthony Towns. They gave up 4 picks to go get Mikal Bridges. For OG Anunoby, they didn't give up quite as much. And they took the chance out of Sham Brunson. But the way they built their team is a little bit different. But the previous 5, 6 title winners, none of them went out and took a big swing at the trade deadline or the offseason. None of them. The last team to do that was Toronto when they went and got Kawhi. Everybody else looked at their team and thought, we got to get better at depth. We got to get better on the margins. And I'll give you a couple of quick examples. Denver went out and got Bruce Brown and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. They wanted a little bit more toughness on the perimeter, a little bit more defense, and a little bit more shooting with KCP to help spread the floor around the pick and roll with Murray and Jokic. Oklahoma City watched that young, talented team lose in the second round of Dallas. They need more rebounding. They need a little bit more post presence defensively. They needed a little bit more toughness on the edge. Another veteran presence. They went out and got Alex Caruso and Josh Hartenstein. Neither one of those guys are stars. They're not number 2s. Jalen Williams didn't make any shots against the Mavericks. They said, we believe he's going to get better. You can just go down the line of who's won titles and how they've done it. The Knicks were a little bit different. Okay, maybe fine, but I don't blame the Pistons for thinking Duren's going to get better. Asar Thompson's never going to be a three-point shooter, but if his handle gets better, he's a completely different offensive player. Then he's going to be more like his brother, who scored 18 points a game without a shot. Sorry, I'm getting worked up about this. It's just I'm trying to deal in reality here of how NBA teams build their championship rosters and explain why the Pistons have not gone out and gotten Trey Murphy. And not that he wouldn't hurt, but for some of the fans out there, I've heard people say trade Asar Thompson for Trey Murphy straight up. What?
Yeah, they're not giving up Asar Thompson.
What? In what world does that make them better?
No. I mean, right. No, you lose your identity entirely. On the Duren thing, I think with Duren, it's they either got lucky that he stunk it up in the playoffs and struggled the way he did when all of a sudden there was a focus on stopping who he was, and he looked slow, and I kept thinking maybe he's even injured a little bit. He didn't look good. And they either got lucky with that because it's going to save them maybe $15 million a year and moving forward, and he still becomes the player they thought he was going to be, or he plays a position that's replaceable at less than they're going to pay him at a decent rate, and he's just not that good. I don't know which it is, because he's not an elite rim protector. You talk about needing size. There are things you need in the NBA. We didn't see him provide really any of them in the playoffs, and so they went away from him down the stretch. And again, 22. I agree. You have an incredible asset there. The Jaylen Brown thing, I mean, the money would have gotten weird there, and the Pistons would have been up against it, and you'd have to have some plans on how to fill out the roster.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if that was the move.
Too, Graham, right?
Yeah. No, he's not a great number two. I mean, the reason that Boston wanted to get rid of him as much as anything, is other than the analytics and all that stuff, is like if you need a guy to be the guy, he's not the best player in the NBA, but he can do that for you. If you need a guy to be a complementary piece, I don't know if he's that guy for you. And he's not the defender that he had the reputation for as a great two-way. He's not that. Cade Cunningham's a better defensive player than he is. Yeah. Right? I mean, just from watching Duren, and I remember talking to Duren about this in Cleveland, and I don't remember what game it was. It might have been after Game 6. And he had a couple of better, he had a couple of moments in Cleveland where he was a little bit better, and it might have been Game 6 actually. And we talked, and I said, you looked like you were overthinking. You looked like you'd lost your confidence. And there was a move where he didn't hesitate, and he went down. I can't remember if he dunked or scored, and it was like, oh, that looks like Jalen Duren. And I said that to him. He said, oh, you noticed that? And I said, yeah. It's just you're around long enough, you can see when somebody is getting it. I mean, their brain is stopping everything else. And he said, yeah, he's completely lost. He admitted it completely. Yeah.
He didn't know who he was, and will that happen again? I don't know. No, he hopes not. The Pistons hope not. But they know that it wasn't just because they were bringing an extra defender down. I mean, that was part of it. But he got so pressled up, he completely lost who he was, and that happens sometimes with young players in the playoffs. They're banking on that he'll figure that out, that he's a worker. And we'll see. But, I mean, if it doesn't work, then Langdon and all those guys are going to eventually be out of jobs. And that's right. They're banking on those three guys and then putting more shooting around and then hopefully a little bit more ball handling. And so far that's what they've done. John Collins is going to hit corner threes in a way that Tobias Harris didn't. They're going to miss Harris backing down and getting a bucket, right? But I mean, why did they lose Game 7? Cade Cunningham didn't play well. Cade Cunningham threw the ball away in Game 3. They had a chance to go up 3-0. Yeah, Max Strus intercepted the ball. You remember that? The game was tied. They had the ball.
Yeah, Game 7 was a disaster across the board. There were other games where they had an opportunity not to need a Game 7. There.
Exactly. Yeah, so fans need to ask. So what's the difference? If Max Strus is on the Pistons roster, the Pistons win. Right, so that's why the teams go to the playoffs and like, okay, we need the number 5 guy to be better. We need the number 6 guy to be better. When this guy's off the floor, we need to not lose those minutes so much.
I agree.
The playoff games are won in the margins.
And I agree with you on Tobias. I've always thought, and look, he was as good as he's ever been in the playoffs when they needed him, because they needed somebody, and nobody else was stepping up.
And then still couldn't produce, right?
Right.
When they really needed it.
Yeah, he's always been good enough to get you beat. If he's your guy, he's just it's just you're going to be on the floor, but you're going to lose, and that's always been my Tobias Harris take, and I still can't believe that Philly chose him when anyway. The last thing, I've kept you way long. Is it worth paying attention to the Tigers the rest of the season?
I mean, yeah, if you like sports. I mean, this is. I mean, yeah, this is the thing. Can we? I mean, you and I probably agree on this. I get it. Our society, we want everything. People get frustrated. This whole idea that none of the GMs in town, have any guts. How about that? To make any moves, whatever. That they're just trying to protect their jobs. It's all part of this. But if you like sports, Norway, and I know you know a lot more about soccer or European football as you would say than I do. Did you see the footage of their team getting off the plane and having the fire trucks shooting the water over like it was a retired United captain after 40 years of flying all over the world? Did you see the hundreds of thousands of people crammed down in Oslo, welcoming that team and then doing the row together?
I did.
For a quarterfinal team, an 8th-place team. That's how they greeted them.
But they hadn't been in the World Cup before. I mean, that's,
Sure, but that's the point.
Yeah.
But they were celebrating like they'd won a title, even though they hadn't. It can't just be about the title. You need to be able to sit down in late July and watch a game, and the Tigers make a comeback or win a 1-0 game, or there's a great pitching performance from Troy Melton.
Yeah, but there needs to be
and enjoy that on its own.
But hold on. I would say this: if you've got a 12-team playoff, you need to hope it leads to the playoffs at least. And you also, it's okay if it's a young player who you think is going to be around, like Troy Melton. That's great because that's somebody who you think is going to be part of your future. If it's Tarek Skubal, it's like, well, that guy's gone anyway. They didn't get the most out of this team. What the hell is the point? I understand all that stuff. What you said about Norway is 100% on with a lot of sports. One of my favorite things about the NCAA tournament is that the finish is different for every team. You make a Sweet 16 and you're Butler in 2003, there's a parade when you get home, right? And you make making the tournament is the title for some teams. The Final Four is a huge deal if you're VCU or whatever, and you get there are different levels, and it's a banner for a lot of different teams at a lot of different levels, and that's what happened with Norway in this situation. In Major League Baseball, when you've been in 2 straight playoffs and you make the statement that the players are the same, but they're not going to be the same, and then you look like this. I mean, I understand the frustration. No.
I'm not saying there shouldn't be frustration. I'm saying, do you pay attention to them the rest of the year? You don't if they didn't just have the June that they had. I mean, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. They showed that, hey, they're not a bad team, at least for that month, and maybe they're going to have some kind of crazy turnaround. I don't know. But they're worth at least experimenting. If they had not been good at June at all, then absolutely, don't pay attention. For sure. Walk away. Do whatever you're going to do in the dog days of summer. But you ask, are they worth, based on what they've done the last 4 or 5 weeks, they're at least interesting again, right?
Yeah. Yep, a little bit.
And maybe they're going to crush you all over again. Maybe they're going to go on another 3-week losing streak, and then you'll be free.
Shawn, it is good to have you back, man. You've got it's good to have you back. It's good to hear your voice. It's good to have you back with us, and thanks for all the time, man. We need to see each other again soon.
Absolutely, look forward to it, and enjoy that little one, and keep blaming her for your stinky toots.
Don't worry, I just did this morning, so appreciate you, Shawn.
All right, take care, bud. Yep.
That is Shawn Windsor from the Detroit Free Press.
Man, hey, buddy. Oh, you asking? Hey,
how you doing?
That interview had it all. It's absolutely stunning. We're gonna have to go back and clip a couple of those things.
We went for a while.
By the way, Pistons talk in July makes me want to fart out of my chest. I got to say, I was just like, holy shit. Well, Windsor and Couch should do a sports podcast that you only listen to right before bed. Because you guys both have that voice. It's like, hey.
Put you to sleep.
I'm so glad Windsor's doing great, though. That's I love. And I hope the writer he farted on, writer in quotes, was Harnes.
Well, you said a national NBA writer.
Oh, shit. I didn't hear that part. Okay. Because I couldn't listen to the whole interview. I was just thinking of Windsor blowing heat on someone on Harnes, and it made me laugh. That sucks that he had to go through that, though.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't have went to the press. Like, how do you get out? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, are you kidding me? Like, my phone went off on the Monday show, and I was, like, mortified because my old diabetes kind of apps go off. And I'm like, oh, that was my big fear when I go to these golf events. I make sure everything is 100% with my blood sugar, because if one of those goes low or high or something like that, and I get one of those and
right in the backswing,
because you can't mute those because they're meant to save your life. So anything you do other than turning your phone off, which I could just do that, but you have to know.
By the way, you were fine the other day. It was
absolutely fine. Yeah. I know Couch after the show, he's like, I was looking over to make sure you were okay. Like, I would have to wait for Couch to save me. Like, if I didn't feel great, we couldn't go to break. And
I would carry you to the hospital. I would run down the street to the hospital.
Oh my God.
In my arms.
I'd rather die. Just leave me here. Just get a water out of the cooler and pour it on me and let me die. If those are the two options. Oh, man. Anyway, back to the Warde thing. Dan Wetzel tweeted this out while you guys were discussing this. And he said a lot of speculation on whether Michigan suspected the Sharon Moore-Paige Shiver affair. Yes, of course it did. In the fall of 25, Michigan conducted a full HR investigation into the situation, including interviewing both participants who denied it. There wasn't enough evidence to prove an inappropriate relationship. And all of this was reported by ESPN and others, blah, blah, blah. So he's giving credit for Michigan for looking into it, but then Warde Manuel knew about.
And that can explain, like,
but Warde Manuel knew about it.
But that can explain something like saying, "Hey, you can't travel. We're looking into the, you can't travel with her. We're not finding anything conclusive, but do not, take a road trip with her." Like I can see that, and I the Chris Partridge lawsuit, and the stuff with Santono, and whether how much of there was a cover up. I think that stuff is fascinating too. I think,
but if there is a cover up, what will happen to a guy like Ono?
Nothing, because
what is going to happen? Yeah. Are we talking about criminal charges? No, right? So if you're either one of these guys, you're just going to be like, you just keep pleading that you're naive and you had no idea what was going on. I feel like that's what I would do. I wouldn't get myself into that situation, but if I were in that situation, it's really hard to not just keep doubling down when people are, what are they going to do about it? What are you going to do about it?
That's the thing. If we can't be in a world where it's just like, I have the power, what are you going to do about it? I mean, I
totally understand. Yes.
Because I used to say this with the NCAA too. Like the NCAA would say, hey, the sanctions, this guy's ineligible.
Yeah.
Well, F you. He's playing. Guess what? What, are you going to bring security to the field? We're playing the game, and he's playing.
Yeah. Like, we're not going to play Texas Tech.
Yeah,
F you.
We're playing who we want to play. We're playing how we want to play. Like, if you get in a world where you just obliterate the rules unless there's physical force to prevent you from doing things, like that's not a world we want to live in either.
No, not at all.
I don't think most people, yes, there are, we talk about faucet liquor, UofMblow.com, whatever it is. Even some of those folks aren't real thrilled with things. There are people who will always have Michigan's back, but there are people who are frustrated because, if you're somebody who is seen as a U of M shill and you're somebody who openly roots for them and openly wants the best things and you've stuck up for people and now you're looking like a fool, that's no fun either.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of frustration with it. And I think when the question I had for Shawn was the worst thing that can happen to Michigan is sort of the more evidence of sort of a widespread understanding of the cheating and to what degree cover up, wink, wink, whatever it was, and a sort of widespread lack of credibility for their national championship in football. And just sort of an understanding that, people looking at that forever as that didn't really happen. And look, you can say in-house, you can say all you want. Well, it happened, and I'm cool with it. Well, if you're cool with it, fine. You can only feel how you feel. But ultimately, I think that will hurt a fair bit. And I think that is...
When you wear the Michigan football national championship shirts and you're at a party and you're trying to brag about it, people are like, yeah, but you guys cheated, right? Like, that would suck. I think that would suck.
And you also look like a tool wearing that shirt then.
Well,
that's a
whole nother topic. But,
yeah. Anyway, it was fun to have Shawn on.
It was great. Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm going to have to go back and listen again because we're going to have to cut some of that up now that he's okay.
Yes.
Especially you saying farting out of your chest. I mean, we have so many different things. Let me know if you guys heard anything. So
yeah, no, it was good.
We
are going to take a quick break. When we come back, one of my favorite things is when we do our golf bets before a major.
Oh, my goodness.
And Jason has 432. So this show is going to go another 2 hours.
Yeah.
With golf bets.
And I'm going to do my best Graham impersonation one and give them all out, too.
Excellent. I have some
guys asleep.
I have some educated ones, and I'm kind of excited about a few of mine, and I'm waiting to be told otherwise.
Matt Fitzpatrick? Mm-hmm.
Maybe. Just maybe.
That's a tease. What a tease.
Yeah. Couch in the Rube, our Wednesday show, of course, presented by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub in Cask & Company Kitchen and Bar. Go to caskandcompany.com. Make a reservation today. You can set up a private room if you just don't want to be around people, or you have an event as well. That's now available at Front 43 in Cask & Company as well. Get the whole experience catered just to you for a group or just for yourself in a room alone watching sports and enjoying a private room. If anybody ever does that, I think that would be really cool. I don't know. I think that would be a lot of fun. We'll be right back. Couch in the Room.
Where else can you cheer on your team? Enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi. Sip on handcrafted cocktails or one of 46 beers on tap. Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. Two amazing places with one awesome blended modern American Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Firekeeper's online casino and sportsbook is the site to play from your phone, tablet, or laptop. Get in on all the football action with pre- and in-game wagering. There's showdowns every week in football that you can't miss. Plus, the college and pro hoops are red hot, and the pucks are cool. Get your first casino deposit and sports wager matched up to $500 each. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117.
Please like and subscribe to the Couch and the Rube YouTube channel. Also download podcast episodes wherever you get your podcasts. For sponsorship opportunities, email Jason at couchandtherube.com.
Couch and the Rube, our Wednesday show, presented by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask & Company Kitchen and Bar. Outstanding modern American and Asian menu. I'm telling you, the pad thai, just an incredible choice. Again, caskandcompany.com, and that's just near the Lansing-East Lansing border on East Saginaw and Lansing. Time now for our picks for the Open, presented by our friends at Firekeepers and the Firekeepers Eye Casino and Sportsbook app. Jason.
I guess you can say Open, or like the British Open. I guess it's like
British Open.
Yeah, you can say it.
Okay.
But it's considered the Open.
Right.
Anyway. Oh, you want me to go?
Yes.
Are we going to do like I do one and then you do one?
Let's do that.
You got enough?
I
have like 70.
I'll go for a while.
I'm not giving here.
Okay.
All right, top 30. We're going to start there. I like Hao Tong Lee and Tyrrell Hatton, and that pays plus 700. Hatton checks almost every box in the Norm model, and Hao Tong Lee's one of those players. He seems to elevate his game when he gets to the Open. His creativity around the greens and comfort in the wind makes him the perfect fit for Royal Birkdale. I didn't write that. AI did, but I thought I'd tell you guys. That is plus 700. Hao Tong Lee and Tyrrell Hatton. Go ahead, Graham.
Couple guys I really like, and the outright market and also top tens. 30-1 in the outright market. Victor Hovland, made for links golf, kind of a throwback. Going to have good conditions this week, which is very different. Not the rainy stuff you often get at this. I like him 30-1, and I like Hatton too. Look, he's third in the Masters, 7th in the U.S. Open. Good links player. Won Dunhill. Won a bunch of links courses. He was good last weekend after a rough Thursday, and he's 33-1. He's better than the other live guys, right? He's kept himself competitive. Kind of a links course specialist too.
Wow, listen to this guy. Give him the music full. All right, let's get to another top 30. It's my boy Siwoo Kim and Brian Harman, and that pays out plus 580. Harman won the Open, a couple years ago, 2023, by making no mistakes, and that's exactly what this course demands. And Siwoo Kim, my boy, he's a little volatile, but if he can get that putter going, he's become one of the better difficult course players on the tour, and plus 580, I like.
All right. Cameron Young. Off the radar. He's been second at St. Andrews. He's been in the contention of one of these things. Some serious putting issues lately. But I think he's going to get back to form. 35-1. I don't know. Just kind of like that. And another, Sam Burns, 45-1. Been close in majors.
That's your outright.
Yeah, outright.
Burnsy.
Just had a kid. They always need that emotional story. Baby was born last week. Skipped
Enough with you guys and your babies.
Anyway, that another outright. And all these outrights, I also would value top 10 as well.
Well, speaking of Victor Hovland, let's get to my top 20. And Victor Hovland, Graham, he's a part of it. And our boy, Tommy Fleetwood. Tommy Ladd. Going back to Birkdale, his home course, where he used to sneak on with his dad. All those great stories. That trumps whatever, he just had a kid. Big deal. He snuck into Royal Birkdale, and now you're back there playing. His outright odds, absolute shit. But top 20, Match that with Victor Hovland at plus 480. That's something that I can enjoy. Not with my father, but anyway. You have any more?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
I like in the top top 10 here, Alex Fitzpatrick. Just probably not going to win, so probably top 10 only. But he sort of risen to the challenge all year, and I would not take him in the outright. It's a huge number, but I would top 10.
And he won in India. It was one of the hardest courses in the world. So
like him a fair bit.
Yeah, he probably hates that his brother is like the most tip pick this week, so he's going to ball out this week. I like Alex. All right, to my next one. We're going to go top debutante. And Graham, when you listen to a lot of golf content that I do, golf gambling content, I love my guys in the golf Twitter gambling world. And so every once in a while you have to, if you hear something. Now I try to do the norm model first and then go off that in my own picks with some gut feels and then listen to those guys. If they have one that I like, I'll tail. And that's one of these. And top debutante, Jacob Bridgman from Jeff Feinberg. Jacob Bridgman at plus 1,200, the top debutante. Bridgman, if he can get that putter going, I think that he could win this top debutante category. My boy Jake Knapp is also in this, but he missed the cut at the Scottish. That wrist injury kind of bothers me. I would love to gamble on Jake Knapp again, but I'm not going to do it this week. Jacob Bridgman, plus 1,200, top debutante.
I have two more top tenors. Cam Smith at like 8-1. He's like 90-1 to win it all. He won at St. Andrews, right? Finding himself a little. One of those guys who sort of was lost to live, but he's an Aussie. Grew up on dry links courses. Yeah, I don't
do it for Steve Irwin, mate.
And then also Billy Horschel.
Wow, Billy.
Injury to start the year, playing well again. He's really popular in Britain. Like, he will be one of those people the crowd gets up for. So, like, if he gets going here, the crowd will be with him on this. So Billy Horschel, top 10, 16-1. I like a little bit.
Listen to this guy, crushing tape. Yeah. Give him the music full.
Thank you.
I don't think I've ever been prouder in my life.
Thank you. That's all I got.
God damn. All right. Well, let's wrap this up. I'll wrap this up. First round leader. This is another tail pick. This is from my boy Jim C on Twitter. These guys know way more golf than I do, so it's always smart. When you're a dumb person like I am, that's what I value about myself. Self-awareness and listen to people smarter than you, which is a lot of people. And for this pick, the first round leader, Matthew Jordan. At 140-1, Graham, first round leader. We're going to fucking Red Lobster if this hits, by the way. This is a classic open dart throw.
I'm in.
He's got extensive experience playing the links golf in England. And when I hear that, I go, absolutely, I will throw $5 on that. Why not? I want to go to Red Lobster. He understands these conditions better than most of the field. And that's why we're going to take a flyer on Matthew Jordan at 140-1. Man. All right, let's get to the outrights. There's a lot.
Buckle up.
Now, Tom Kim. We did hit Tom Kim last week at 88-1 win the Scottish Open. But before the Scottish Open, I made a bet. This is called a future bet. So I have Tom Kim, and you're not going to find this number anywhere because I think he's like 50-1. But I did get him at 150-1 when I bet last month sometime. So Ryan Gerard also at 165-1. Akshay Bhatia, my guy. I think that this is really good value. I don't know what his number is now, but I also bet this with the Tom Kim bet. So I got Akshay Bhatia at 100-1. Siwoo Kim, we talked about him, is top 30, 66-1. If he gets that putter going, got to sprinkle on that. Everybody's favorite, Patrick Reed, Captain America, 64-1. And Bobby Mack, you got to sit there. I mean, an English person hasn't won this since like 1993 or something crazy like that. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Would that change your mind? Because everybody's, Matt Fitzpatrick, the top most tipped golfer. Well, he's English, right? Yeah.
But until somebody does it, they haven't done it. I have no problem with it. That doesn't deter me.
That doesn't deter you
not
whatsoever.
Not at all.
When you hear stuff
I don't
like
think
that.
That's why.
I mean, it kind of it has to deter you a bit, right?
Well, it's like that.
Like an Englishman has not won this tournament since '93. You can't go, I don't care.
It happened with Wimbledon for a long time, and then it happened. It eventually happens, and there's a lot more pressure, I guess, on these guys.
That's why life is so simple. It's just going to happen. Anyway, we got Bobby Mack at 41. 41-1. And lastly, I had to sprinkle on. I mean, this whole thing, this scenario, this whole course and everything is built for Matt Fitzpatrick. But usually, and I've been golf betting this way for about 2 years, when a golfer is most tipped, they never win usually. Even though Tom Kim last week, a lot of people had him. But it's still, at 88-1, if you got him, you got him. We celebrate no matter what. When we cash, no matter what, in golf betting, we celebrate. So give me Matt Fitzpatrick. I think it's 15-1 now. 15-1. I got it at 21-1. And those are the open picks.
I get emotional just it's exciting.
I love golf so much.
Here's the best thing about the Open.
Oh, God. If anybody wants to talk golf, hit me up. JNick30 or wherever.
Best thing about the Open is
I love it.
when Wimbledon early rounds ended, I didn't have anything. Like, when Wimbledon starts, 6 a.m. matches are starting, right? And I'm up really early these days.
Yeah.
And so when Wimbledon ended, you're like, ugh, Cora, can you sleep in a little bit? I got nothing here. And now the Open starts. It's like, what, 5 a.m.? Even earlier?
It starts at 2 a.m.
2 a.m.
I don't know when the live coverage starts.
We're racing down the stairs.
It's a whole other show about the golf coverage. But anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, looking forward to that this weekend.
Good picks, man.
Appreciate it.
I like your picks.
Yeah.
All right. Are we done now?
I think we're done.
All right. Geez.
We did all we could. We will be back Friday with to answer your Twitter questions and Blue Sky questions and email questions, however you get those questions in as well. Always graham.couch@gmail if you don't want to use the socials. We appreciate Shawn Windsor and all the time he gave us in that conversation. I'm glad he's alive and kicking and farting and whatever it's happening to him, but he's alive, and that's a good place to be. We appreciate, of course, our friends at Front 43 and Cask and Company. If you're looking for a place for a date night, for a lunch, whatever it might be, to watch some games this weekend, anytime, happy hour, lunch. Might have said lunch already. That's okay. Front 43 and Cask and Company near the Lansing-East Lansing border on East Saginaw in Lansing. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
Couch in the Roof.